promised afore through his prophets. There's a hymn that includes the lines, Son of Man exalted high, let him in, let him in. It says that Jesus was exalted high, and we should let him in. In Hebrews chapter 1, verses 1 and 2, it says, God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. A continuous stream of prophets wrote about Jesus. In 1 Peter chapter 1 it says, of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you, searching what or what manner of time the Spirit of Christ which was in them did signify, when it testified beforehand the sufferings of Christ and the glory that should follow. All of this had already been recorded in the Old Testament. The Spirit of God moved the hearts of the prophets to write down all that he told them. But even as they wrote, they didn't know what it all meant. David, for example, wrote, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me and from the words of my roaring? For dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. They part my garments among them, and cast lots upon my vesture. David had already written all of this down 1,000 years before the time of Jesus. One day, Jesus was breaking bread with his 12 disciples, and as he gave a morsel to Judas, he said to him, that thou doest, do quickly. Then he also said, the Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Jesus said that he was going to go the way that had been determined for him. I will die as it has been recorded in the Old Testament scriptures, but it would be better for that man if he had never been born. This was because the wrath of God would extend to him. Judas ate with Jesus and the disciples, and then went out. He was in charge of the money bag, so the other disciples thought that he had gone to buy something, but Judas had gone to sell Jesus to the chief priests. The price of this sale, 30 pieces of silver, had already been recorded in the Old Testament. In Zechariah it says, and I said unto them, if ye think good, give me my price, and if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver. And the Lord said unto me, cast it unto the potter, a goodly price that I was prized at of them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver, and cast them to the potter in the house of the Lord. One of Jesus' disciples betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. Already in Genesis chapter 3, we have a record of a prophecy about the death of Jesus. God said to the serpent, thou shalt bruise his heel. Also Jesus himself said, and I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. He was indeed lifted up and nailed to the cross. Judas Iscariot played a role in this event. The Bible also foretold the way in which Jesus would die. In Romans chapter 1, it says, the gospel of God, which he had promised afore by his prophets in the Holy Scriptures. When it says Scriptures here, it means the Old Testament. The promise that God made in advance through the Old Testament prophets about Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of God, is the gospel. In Romans chapter 16 it says, now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began, but now is made manifest, and by the scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of the everlasting God, made known to all nations, for the obedience of faith. To God only wise be glory through Jesus Christ for ever. Amen. It says here that this gospel is made known to all nations for the obedience of faith, not just to one particular nation. The gospel is there for everyone, whosoever believeth.